Much a verdict has come down in the trial of a Chinese-American cop charged in a fatal shooting. New York City police officer Peter Liang killed a man while on patrol in a housing development. That was back in 2014. Now, just a short time ago, he was found guilty of manslaughter. Let's go live to Nick Harper in New York City with more on the verdict.
Well, Mike, Peter Liang has now become the first NYPD officer to be found guilty of an on-duty killing in more than 10 years. He's been found guilty of the manslaughter of Akai Gurley and for also official misconduct. Now, all of this hinged around the whys and the hows over the firing of his gun. It happened back in November 2012 in a housing project in Brooklyn. He was doing with his partner what they call a vertical patrol, where they patrol the stairwell from the top to the bottom. Akai Gurley was on the floor before when Peter Liang entered the stairwell, and he had his gun in his hand as he did so. The gun went off, a bullet ricocheted off the wall, hit Akai Gurley, and he died. However, the defense and the prosecution differ over exactly why the gun was fired. The defense said that it was purely an accidental discharge, that Peter Liang was startled by a noise of a door. They say that it was a terrible tragedy. The prosecution argued that he was a rookie police officer with just 18 months experience and that this was a firing of a gun for no reason. They also say that after he shot his weapon, he moaned with his colleague about the fact that he was going to get fired from his job. Now, we have to remember the timing of this case was very important. It came just a few months after the killing of Michael Brown in Ferguson and Eric Garner here in New York. They were two unarmed black men killed by white police officers. Grand juries looked into these cases but decided not to indict the police officers. However, Peter Liang's case was heard by a grand jury and they decided to send it to trial. Between the two, we had several months of protests between protesters who said that the police force in America was racist, that it was carrying out police brutality. So Peter Liang's trial eventually did go to a courthouse where it was heard over the last few weeks. It took some time for the jury to reach their decision. 18 hours of deliberation. Motions caught up pace. Now, he'll be sentenced on April the 14th. He may appeal before then. However, Peter Liang could now face up to 15 years in jail. Mike?
Nick Harper with the very latest there from New York City. Thanks so much.